how are you going to prove it when something comes in, you know, bites halfway through someone, and then as they're screaming and gurgling, runs off into the woods? Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It was warm this morning, still is. I had the fan going on in the window all night, had the fan in the doorway going all night, came in here, still warm. So now with the door shut and the fan off so that I can be heard, oh boy, it's really heating up quick. And it's gonna be a scorcher, not just today, but all week. We are projected to be into the 90s. And I don't do well in heat, so that's gonna do my ADHD wonders. Thumbs up for that. I was still able to sleep last night, and that's a good thing. So hopefully, if you're in the northern hemisphere, hopefully you are surviving the heat. Oy vey. Especially since over in Europe, there have been so many thousands that have died from the heat. And remember, this is going to be the coldest summer that you're going to have forever. And of course, front-loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that'd be mega cool. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, these literally beautiful and literally awesome people who help to keep me alive. And considering the bad news that I'm going to be talking about, that's very important. Thank you, each and every one of these beautiful and awesome people. I thank you, my pets thank you, and hopefully things are going to be good. And I can't remember exactly how long I should keep my hands in the air, but my wrists were hurting, so hopefully that does the trick. Yeah, we're gonna be signing a new lease for this place, and the rent's going up, just like it's going up everywhere. And that's gonna be $1,300 per month. I don't know if that's comparable to the utilities. I pay rent, my housemates pay utilities, and considering their job situation is probably comparable in percentages to what I'm paying out of my stuff for the house that they would be paying for the utilities. Hopefully I made sense there. I hope so. But with $1,300, I'm losing weight at the end of each month now because I can't feed myself with the money I have. And that's with the EBT, electronic benefits, food stamps. I don't have enough money on either my food stamps or just in my bank account to buy food for me for the rest of the month. And that's right now. When I have my rent go up another $150, that's just going to be suddenly gone. I don't know what's going to be happening. I'm going to be contacting the VA and such, but oh boy, this has really been weighing heavy on my mind since I heard about this. So I may be starting up a GoFundMe again, see how that works out, see if anyone can possibly help. I don't know. So hopefully I can get some phone calls made today to figure out through the VA if they can help. But I don't want to talk about depressing and awful stuff all the time. So I'm going to talk about some other things. I was watching a video this morning about a fellow who is doing a review of gaming inhalers. A literal inhaler that, like a the thing that you get it in is in a little tube that you actually stick in your nose and then puff it, and it puffs up a poof of air into your nose that you inhale. But the guy took a look at the list of ingredients, and the primary ingredient is menthol. Now, menthol is not cooling. Menthol causes a cooling sensation on your skin because it was like potassium and ion channels that open up, and that causes a cooling feeling without actually being cooling. Inhaling menthol does nothing. And in fact, if you inhale a lot of menthol, it'll build up in your sinuses, and it can cause you to do things like get lethargic and forget things. So if you use this stuff a lot, you will actually be less of a gamer than if you weren't. So that's a special product. They advertise as a plus that they have absolutely zero caffeine in it. And I thought that the way the fellow talked about that part of it was amusing at the very least when he said, and that can be seen as a good thing if you're a bitch. And while I don't agree with the languaging on that, the sentiment, yeah, I live off caffeine, so. I remember back when I was an active alcoholic, caffeine would affect my heart a lot. So I had to not drink caffeine when I was an active alcoholic in the process of dying. But since I have become sober, if I don't take caffeine, my ADHD murders me. So thumbs up for that. Taking a look at my list here to see what else I have, if there's anything happening in town that I want to talk about, because yesterday I just did the things that I have to do. I was not able to do any of the things that I wanted to do. I was in just survival mode, especially since it was early in the afternoon when I found out about the whole rent thing, and that blasted my ability to even think coherently straight out of my head. And of course, the joyous part is I had talked with my therapist 2 weeks ago where he had said he was going to be going on vacation. My memory is such that when I got a list in my email of all the dates that were going to be canceled, I got it mixed up and thought that meant last week too. So I missed my appointment. It's going to be a full month before I talk to my therapist again. And I need to talk to my therapist now. Oh well, life is life. Past that though, as stated, played some video games, listened to music, went out for walkies in the heat. That was fun, but did what I had to do and then came back, relaxed, and went to bed. I'm starting to sleep at a better time, usually around 11 o'clock now, instead of midnight-ish. So hopefully that's the actual Wellbutrin helping a little bit. Because yesterday I wasn't able to take it at 3 like I wanted to, but I took it at 4. And I was able to do some remembering, and I tried to be as creative as I could on my walkies. Not easy right now. My mood is volatile, and this sort of news and worrying about the future just, whoa, I'm not able to stay on my balance pivot point. Everything's a mess. So thumbs up for that. On the other hand, I have done some thinking about stuff, and I do want to talk still about some inside-outside Razor's Edge cryptid stuff. So I'm going to spend some time talking about stuff that I can control. This setting so that I can get the project still together. Hopefully, if I have to increase the Wellbutrin, or if it's hopefully it's going to be continuing to help. It is helping, just in tiny ways right now, and that's good. But I was talking about crime and all that yesterday, because being eaten being in the top 10 causes of death on the inside, and the Razor's Edge, where sometimes being eaten is in the top 5 and sometimes in the top 3, there's not always going to be a body so that you can say, this is what happened and here's proof, here's photographs. How are you going to prove it when something comes in, bites halfway through someone, and then as they're screaming and gurgling runs off into the woods? You're not going to be able to document that. So a lot of the heavy-duty stuff, like taking someone out and just getting rid of them and pretending that they were eaten, could happen. But remember, everyone on the inside is much more community-minded. You have to be. If you're not looking out for the community can be killed. If the community is not looking out for you, you will likely die. You have to be community-minded. You are on the bleeding edge of an unending, untamable frontier. You have to work together. You have to be there for the community, and the community has to be there for you, or everyone is going to die. So, they are all more community-minded because the ones that aren't already got eaten. And that weeding out of the bad, out of all the midst of the good, happens all the time. Yes, there are bad people, but largely if someone is going to be bad enough, that sort of behavior is going to attract the attention of the community, and the community will take care of it. There are some towns where the community does take care of things by literally just making decisions and dragging you outside of the town limits, and then you're not alive anymore. They make sure of that before they just give the body a toss into the woods. The police and such like that are more civic protection minded, protecting the city from the outside, the untamable frontier, trying to get that as fixed up and working on people being alive because of that, instead of trying to deal with theft, crime, robbery, any of that sort of thing. There is no big police thing like there is in our world, because those that would engage in a lot of the things that would require a police force, they're taken care of. So the police and deputies, especially the ones that I talk about, they're more community defense minded. And yes, there are larger places like in Apple Rock and such where there are courts, there are legislation, there is such, but it's not a legislative executive government type thing. It's more of a, well, it is a legislative and voting and all that, but it's the community that's taking care of it, and the community that is doing this, not any of the police and such. They're busy trying to make sure that stuff out there doesn't come in here. No, you're never really going to be able to protect yourself fully against anything. Any sort of person that wants to cause trouble and has a really high, powerful sense of sight can ride the line on glamours and get almost anywhere they want to. So there's a limit on what you can do. But for crime, yeah, largely those people that would commit crimes don't really last all that long. So whereas we out here have the whole bunch of stuff like serial killers and domestic violence and all that, on the inside, the razor's edge, that's yanked far over this direction. There are some things like serial killers, just that doesn't happen on the razor's edge. Well, more it could on the razor's edge, but not on the inside. And the only reason it could happen more on the razor's edge is because the razor's edge being a transitory transition point, which makes sense, transitory transition, being a transition point, there is a huge influx of not just people from the inside who want to come and take a look. There's all us out here that are always moving into the razor's edge and further into the inside, because those people that have the sight, once your sight is activated, you crave the inside. You crave that stuff. You crave it. You need it. Now, it could be, because your mileage may vary, that you're craving it and needing it is just being reminded that there's glamours out there like once a year, and that satisfies your cravings. And then there's the other side where you crave it so much you go all the way inside, as far as you can go. Most people are in the middle. So there's always an influx of us who don't have those weedings out, and we bring in tendencies, habits, and cultures onto the razor's edge that will cause problems. So it's not a utopia by far. But again, I talk about this stuff because for the project that I'm making, I have to come up with a solid framework for the world. I'm not exactly seat of my pantsing it, nor am I having it all written down fully. I need the world to be real and solid as a framework so that I can set my characters loose inside of it like ping pong balls and watch them bounce off everything without worrying about parts of it collapsing like a house of cards over there. Once I get the world fully solid like I've been doing, you can bounce ping pong balls inside of that setting forever. As long as you keep things primarily character driven, there's no end of stories that can be told. And with the Razor's Edge in the inside, there's always something new and bizarre, weird, and no one's ever had to deal with it before, but they better learn fast. So there's always something happening. No matter how solid of a framework, I'm going to have to eventually just start writing it out, but also no matter how solid of a framework, it's solid enough to take more. And that's a good thing, and that's why I keep working on it, because as stated, even if I never manage to do anything with it, it is still something that brings me pleasure. There is more, of course, about the kaiju and Apple Rock and how these people... I've talked about the past couple days about the whole Go-Go-Gotso 500, where something started ironically, became unironic, took on a life of its own, and when this monster actually did kill and eat 500 people, that people celebrated. The people of Apple Rock would understand that entirely, because everybody on the Razor's Edge doesn't look down on them, and actually idolizes the town of Apple Rock, but everybody thinks the inhabitants are just callous as hell, especially since the rampage before the last one that killed 12,000 people. The previous rampage, the kaiju ate less than 650 people. And people are still disappointed and dogging on the whole situation, just making fun of it because it wasn't a real rampage. Didn't even eat 650 people. So, yeah, people in Apple Rock, it's not really their fault. They're just, we'll talk more about that later. Because right now, I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. And of course, if you have watched this far, thank you so very much. It is appreciated. I ramble on about boring stuff, but thank you so very, very much. Again, it is appreciated to no end. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, well. My voice sounds so gravelly to my ears today. We have Ellen Sizemore, thumbs up and thank you. J-A-Y-Y, greatly appreciated and good to see you. We have R-Rox, R-O-X, thumbs up and thank you. There's Lehman Chan, greatly appreciated. Stephen Blanchard, good to see you in the comments. We have Kenpachi Ramasama, thumbs up and thank you. There is the Horror Files, good to see you in the comments as well. Ding Dong, thumbs up and thank you. Macon Douglas, greatly appreciated. Loco5, good to see you in the comments as well. And then there is Ben B, thumbs up and thank you. There is Moby, greatly appreciated. Timothy Parhan, thumbs up, and that is it. 13 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text, and if only for a short time. It is appreciated to no end. I'm going to try and get stuff done today. I got to call the VA and ask about various things. This still hurts back here, but actually not as bad as it has. So it has to be a knot because I'm touching it right now, and it is anatomical. That muscle bunch right in there hurts. So, I mean, could still be a tumor, benign or malignant, but I do need to call about stuff like that. Hopefully I can get that done, especially considering the rent situation. But if you can't get done the things that you need to get done, survival mode is important. You can't get stuff done if you don't survive. So survive a day, try it again tomorrow. And with diseases raging out there, please, people are still dying with spikes in the US from the Covfefe bug. Take appropriate and smart precautions. Don't kill others. Don't send yourself to the end of life corpse pile before it's your time. Be smart, get vaxxed, get boosted. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.